Good everyone, welcome to this video. Today we have a review on the French P-40 F-5 Lafayette. I hope I'm saying that right. This aircraft cost 850 Golden Eagles. And as we always do, there isn't... Well, I tried to compare this aircraft to something, but there really isn't any that I could think of. Sure, it's rank 2, but there isn't any other rank 2 premiums that the player can actually purchase if they were starting new. Now I know someone's going to jump in the comments and say, "What about the MB152?" But that's a coupon. That doesn't really count. The only vehicles I could really compare it to are the French Yak and the French P-47. For the purpose of this video, I'm actually going to compare it to the French Yak. And I know it's a bit of an unusual comparison, but it's the only option I have really. So I'm afraid that's the only option we're going to have to deal with. So, compared to the French Yak, the P-40 tends to have better guns overall and better ammunition capacity. The P-40 is also more versatile, which I actually quite enjoy, but the French Yak has the better performance, obviously not above 5 kilometers and stuff like that. But realistically, these are both pretty good premiums. However, if you take a look at my French Yak 3 review, the guns are debatable. They work on my ping, but they may not necessarily work on yours. Reason why I say that is because what they're Shavaks and they've also got Bearers in. They're debatable at best. Whilst with good old 50 cal on the American aircraft, they tend to work pretty solidly on most players' ping, unless you're flight. Flight is special in that regard. So let's go over the aircraft and let's get into the plus points and the negative points of this aircraft. So we have a pretty good battle rating, being at 2.7. You do get some up tiers, but it's not honestly all that bad, if I was to be brutally honest. The 3.7 up tiers are certainly manageable, especially given your aircraft's performance. The climb rate is around about 2,500 to 3,000 feet per minute, which is not bad for the battle rating. It's certainly not amazing, but it's certainly workable. The 650 caliber machine guns have great ammunition capacity, although if you're a bit too trigger happy, it does tend to go rather quickly due to the high fire rate of the machine guns. And of course, we don't just have a crappy Allison engine, we have a Merlin in this. Well, a license built Merlin, but they're the same bloody thing. Let's take a look at it, shall we? So here we have a Packard V1650-1 12-cylinder inline, with max power on 100% being 1,130 horsepower, and max on WEP is 1,421 horsepower. This is certainly adequate, given the BR, and enables this aircraft to climb reasonably well, turn reasonably well, and retain its energy pretty well. Its high altitude performance is pretty okay, but you're not going to be beating stuff like BF-1 and Fs anytime soon. You'll certainly keep up with them at lower altitudes though. As mentioned about the guns though, I don't know why I clicked off the X-ray, I meant to go into the guns. You'll notice the guns have a strange ammunition capacity of 281 rounds. They tend to go pretty quickly. You only have about, I'd say, 15 seconds of firing time, if that. They're not great for ammunition, well, long-term ammunition capacity, but if you're careful with your trigger, you should be okay. You should be able to last a whole match if you're careful enough. Now, of course, we do get access to some bombs, but first of all, I'm going to go into the recommended belts for this aircraft. And that recommended belt is actually Uni. I tended to have the best results with Uni, having a good mix between an armor-piercing round, a tracer round to guide your shot, and also an incendiary round to set some fires. They certainly seem to work pretty well. Now, of course, you can use ground, but I don't tend to get many fires with ground, so I don't tend to use it. But it's your personal preference after all. In terms of ordnance, we have access to two 100-pound bombs under the wings, one 500-pound on the fuselage, or you can have the best of both and add them both. Given this aircraft is also part of the French starter pack, this is arguably the best pack that you can purchase. Now, of course, due to me being unable to record the B1 Tours review at the moment due to FPS issues in Ground Forces, which a lot of people have been struggling with, I won't be able to do a French pack review for a little while. But it's easily one of the best, if not the best, pack that you can get. And overall, this plane is perfect for backing up the B1 Tour. Sure, you get up tier to 2.7, and then you can get up tier to 3.7. But to have this thing as a backup, it's worth the trade, trust me. Now, of course, this aircraft does have a couple of flaws, as with every aircraft. No aircraft is without flaws, as I always say. And it's got two major ones. Number one, the rudder. The rudder gets a little bit stiff above 300 miles an hour, and when you start hitting the 350 to 400 mile an hour range, it really starts to lock. And doing shots with that sort of airspeed is going to be very hard to do. So you'll see later on in this battle, when I go for a Ju-88, I actually have to pull off just to guarantee better shooting because of the rudder playing up. And the other issue is the overheating. Now, it's nowhere near as bad as something like the RA 2001 Gruppo 22 you saw me review a couple of days ago. But personally, it's still noticeable. You do have to be careful with it. You can't ride this thing's web all day, every day. It's just not going to appreciate it. So you really have to be careful with the overheating. But as long as you're careful, I'd certainly say this aircraft is worth the 850G, in my personal opinion. So, let's go take a look at how the battle went. Now, we do have a bit of, well, this is technically a 2-in-1 because we have a bit of a scumbag, but hey ho. I'm not going to do this as a separate video either, I just thought I'd throw it in. But yeah, we have another team killer in this match. I wasn't too fussed about it. I did obviously bark up because I'm getting sick of this crap. And the guy tried lying, and if there's one thing I don't like, it's liars. So, let's get into it. So I'm going to jump us ahead, first of all. And as you can see straight away, the F4U is firing on takeoff. And any second now, I believe it's the Wildcat he's about to shoot. But yeah, he's a senior douchebag. I don't know why this happened. He does claim that the F4F team killed him, but I doubt it. But anyway, it takes a good few minutes for us to get into the combat zone, so yeah, I'm just going to jump us ahead. That Spitfire, by the way, yes, he just hit a tree. No, I don't have a clue why. Now, of course, as I said at the start, with the positive points, the climb rate is average. As a result, if you're fighting BF-109s quite often, which you will at this BR, especially the E's and F's, you're gonna not outclimb them. As a result, you have to be careful, like taking a route like I did. And as you can see, he's typing in chat there, what does TK mean? I'm new. He's not new, he appears to do this quite a lot. I wasn't going to be stooped out by his bullshit. So here we have a teammate named JSTO3 who's having a bit of trouble with another 109. However, this El Pueblo, I don't know how you say that username, it's certainly a username that I don't see very often. He decides to enter into a fight with me. Now, he's more than capable of taking on a P-40 F, but not when you do that, buddy. I completely shred his cooling system, and well, he's going to run with his tail between his legs, which I can't say I blame him, to be brutally honest, because that hit right there has pretty much solidified his aircraft to be returned to the hangar very shortly. Of course, me being a good teammate, I want to come and help my teammate, so even though he's done some damage to the BF-109, it's still trying to kill him. But as far as I'm concerned, if it don't burn, well it does now, but that's my fire, you get a turn. Kill number 1. Now I have to go down and help the rest of my team. Now of course my teammate over there is going to be returning to base very shortly. He took a bit of a beating from that, but even so. I've obviously not been worried about the BF-109 you saw earlier. I'm not too worried about it. And there you go, there's his lie being exposed. 202 down there, I am worried about it, but at the moment he's too busy fixated on my Hurricane teammate. And well, yeah. There we go. Sorry if you heard that robotic voice then. It's one of those ring things, you know those doorbells you can get? It's one of those. Terribly sorry about that. Kill number 2. Obviously I'm keeping an eye out for Pueblo, and like I say, I don't know how you bloody say it, but I'm obviously wanting to get rid of him. Whilst he is combat ineffective, he is still a dangerous threat if he gets back to his airfield and repairs. Luckily for me, he's not going to. Which I'm sort of glad. I don't really want to deal with another BF-109E. Especially given we have another BF-109E later on, and an F2 later. And there goes Pueblo. Kill number 3. I still have a lot of ammunition left, so I decided to stay in the area, and this actually turns out to be a pretty good thing. Not only do I get to take a crack at a couple more planes, but we also meet the Mike Locks. This guy is what's known as a lagger. What do I mean by that? Well, it probably won't show in a replay, I'm not sure. Yes it does. As you saw there, he's lagging like a motherfucker. I'm getting really sick of seeing this, to be brutally honest. The lagging is just unreal, and it really makes it hard to actually score kills sometimes. Luckily in a dogfight, the P-40 can easily handle itself against an F2. He continues trying to turn fight. And well, this is a fight he can't win. Especially given that he's gotten a bit toasty now. And there we go. Kill number 4. That just leaves a BF-109E3 not too far from our airbase, who's currently being dealt with. And that Ju-88A4. As you can imagine, being a Ju-88A4, I spend the next couple of minutes chasing it down. Normally I can't really catch a Ju-88 because A, I'm 4 miles away from it, and B, I'm climbing. But don't worry, we're going to be there very soon. The Ju-88 decides to go for ground targets, not realising that I'm really here. He does see me now though. And now we get to come and have a play, but look at my airspeed. Notice how my guns are getting very shaky. Yeah, I was trying to use the rudder there to get onto target, but I couldn't. Now that I've lost a bit of speed though, I'm able to make the Ju-88 a little bit toasty, and there we go. Kill number 5, ace in a day, and that is the end of this match. So like I said, for 850 golden eagles, this thing is a steal at that price. It is so fun. Sure, you're going to get up tier quite often, and sure, you're going to fight a lot of 109s. But as long as you're careful, you're patient, and you stick with your team, you'll come out on top for the most part. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's video on the P-40 F-5 Lafayette, and I will catch you all on the next one.